Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com, as well as the YouTube channel and NoDQ&A videos affiliate, ringsidenews.com. We are coming off Monday Night Raw overseas from jolly old England, and now we have most of the cards set for WWE Extreme Rules. I'm sure WWE will add another match or two. Got your questions here from spring.me/Aaron Rift, and I got a question here regarding Raw. First one today comes from Joey Jojo. What do you think about the stipulation matches that were announced on Raw this week in the UK for Extreme Rules? Well, I cannot say that I'm personally blown away by the card for Extreme Rules. I figured we would see John Cena versus Rusev again, and the stipulation is a chain match. Excuse me, not just a chain match, but a Russian chain match. Like, that is going to be all that more devastating. I don't know. Not really a big fan of it, but I guess it could be worse. Guess it could be a table match or a chair match. But to me, it's just a random object being used in a match. And by doing this kind of match too, you can prevent somebody losing by pinfall or submission. That's what it comes off to me, is just a way to have a finish where somebody doesn't have to lose by pinfall or submission. And regarding the WWE World Title match, Randy Orton challenging Seth Rollins in a steel cage match, that is fine, but the stipulation, the extra stipulation, is if Randy Orton uses the RKO, he does not get the title. So the RKO is banned from the match. So basically, Randy Orton can get disqualified in a cage match. Kind of lame, but if I had to make a prediction right now, I mean, I remember there was a similar stipulation years ago at Survivor Series. You had Randy Orton versus Shawn Michaels, and Shawn could not use the super kick, and that was essentially the finish, which I actually thought was really clever. He tried to go for the super kick, he hesitated, and in that moment, Randy Orton was able to take advantage of it. So it would not surprise me if we got the same exact finish at Extreme Rules, where Randy wants to do the RKO, but he hesitates, and then bam, Seth Rollins does the curb stomp and gets the pinfall. So overall, not that impressed with the Extreme Rules card thus far, and I'm guessing we're going to have Big Show versus Roman Reigns yet again in some kind of stipulation, whatever. But they still have a week left, and maybe we'll get a few more decent matches added to the card. Oh, and Paige versus Nikki Bella for the Divas title. I guess WWE gave up on Naomi to challenge her for the title, which is fine. I'd rather see Paige in the match anyways. Next question here from JR216. Hey Aaron, with TNA's recent issues regarding not paying wrestlers coming to light, how long will it take for WWE to purchase TNA in your opinion? Well, this talk always happens every year. We always hear about it, that TNA guys aren't getting paid or they're behind in pay, and TNA having financial issues. This has been going on for years now, and to me it doesn't necessarily mean anything significant. As long as TNA has a television deal, they'll manage to stay in business, and there are guys that will work for TNA for next to nothing, just to be able to have the opportunity to be on television and get that exposure. So TNA will always be able to find people to fill out the roster. Doesn't mean WWE's close to buying TNA. No, doesn't really mean anything. And for all we know, TNA will stay in business for another 15, 20, 30 years. Maybe TNA will outlast WWE. I mean, TNA has managed to stay in business despite all the people out there saying TNA is doomed and they're going to go out of business. They've managed to survive. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. As long as TNA has a TV deal, they'll somehow manage. They have managed, and I think they will continue to manage. And if somebody in TNA isn't happy with the pay, TNA will just get somebody else to work cheap or not work for anything at all. I mean, I think there's a lot of people out there that would do anything to be on TNA programming just to be able to have that TV exposure and say, hey, I'm a TV star, and that can help with indie bookings and that sort of thing. So I'm sure morale's not great in TNA, and I wouldn't be happy if I was in TNA being late on pay and just the state of the company and no real future. But You know, any kind of television exposure is better than nothing. All right, this one comes from Derek J. 1993. Hey Aaron, why bother keep watching Raw when the show has turned into a horrendous sack of crap? I'm sick of the Authority still being around, and from what I can tell, the official ending for them is nowhere in sight. Worst stable ever. Well, if you are sick of the Authority, if anybody out there is sick of the Authority, I would recommend just stop watching now. The Authority is going nowhere. They're definitely going to be around until next WrestleMania because I'm guessing WWE is going to try and book Ronda Rousey for WrestleMania, her against Stephanie, or a mixed tag, or Ronda in The Rock's corner against Triple H with Stephanie in the corner. One of those matches I think WWE is going to try and set up for WrestleMania. And you know the Authority is going to be sticking around as heels at least until that WrestleMania. So if you're sick of the Authority, if you're sick of the Big Show, if you're sick of Kane, if you're sick of all that stuff, I don't know what to tell you. You're stuck. You're going to have to deal with it and go on the internet and complain and tune in the next week or just stop watching. I mean, you definitely have a choice, but I think most people will just deal with it and watch WWE for the good stuff, the Dolph Zigglers and the NXT stars and the Daniel Bryans, and, you know, they'll just complain about the Authority and all that stuff. All right, this one comes from Dave Lesnar. Hey Aaron, on the last video you spoke about the brand extension. If it does come back, will there be 2 world champions for both brands? And could you see Roman Reigns becoming the top guy on SmackDown like Batista in 2005? Well, I did talk about the brand extension recently, and I feel that if WWE was to bring it back, if they were to bring it back, I would not separate the titles again. What I would like to see happen would be WWE having one champion who appears on every show, and that would make the world champion all that more special because that person would be the one guy to appear on both brands and defend the title against superstars on both brands. I think that would be the best way to go. To me, it's just silly to separate the titles again. But if there was to be a new brand extension, you know, that would give Roman Reigns more of an opportunity to be the top guy on SmackDown. And that's one thing, too, that WWE was able to do. You could experiment more because you have 2 shows. You could experiment with different talent, and you can try putting people on top on SmackDown. And if they get over really well, you can always switch them to Raw. So that was one advantage to the brand extension. But as I mentioned in the previous video, there's no indication WWE has any plans to bring it back, but you know, things can change. When SmackDown moves to USA Network, there may be a necessity and there may be a need from WWE to do something big to get people into SmackDown again as a possible A show. All right, this one comes from the Dark11. Hey Aaron, please answer in video. Do you see the Radicals going into the Hall of Fame sometime? If so, would they have Chris Benoit go in as part of the group or put them in without Chris, or will they never ever go in because of Chris? Would love to hear what you think. I do not think Chris Benoit is going in the Hall of Fame as Chris Benoit. I don't think he's going in as part of the Horsemen. The Horsemen were already inducted, no Chris Benoit, and he was ignored. Radicals aren't going in. The Revolution's not going in. Chris Benoit is not going in the Hall of Fame in any capacity, whether it's by himself or with a group. It's just not going to happen. Chris Benoit not going into the Hall of Fame. Better chance that Dixie Carter shows up on Monday Night Raw and becomes the new general manager. Better chance that Goldberg comes back and wrestles one more match against Roman Reigns or Ryback. Better chance that Steve Austin comes back and wrestles a match against Hulk Hogan. It's not going to happen. It's just not something that WWE is going to do. They're not going to glorify Chris Benoit. Will not happen. All right, this one comes from Wrestling Do 95. Yo, Aaron, who do you think has the best mic skills in NXT? Much respect to the show. Well, I'm not going to say Hideo Itami, obviously. I would have to go with Kevin Owens, and that just might be a bias on my part because I used to watch Kevin Owens back when he was Kevin Steen in PWG. I used to go to the shows, and he was always really good on the mic, and I still think he's really good on the mic. To me, he's the best guy in NXT promo-wise. You know, Sami Zayn also does a pretty damn good promo, I think. And I think he would do well in WWE. You know, him and Daniel Bryan, they have a lot of similarities. You know, both as baby faces, tremendous baby faces, and also with the mic skills. You know, Sami Zayn would do well in WWE. I think Kevin Owens would do well in WWE with the promos. You know, those would be my top two. But once again, it's just a bias on my part because I was going to all the PWG shows, and I'm very familiar with both of them. All right, this one comes from Big J Da Great. After AJ Lee's contract expires, do you think she will ever wrestle again in another organization? Personally, she would do well in either TNA, Lucha Underground, or Global Force Wrestling. Your thoughts? Well, she would do well anywhere because she's AJ Lee, but is she going to end up in those promotions? I don't think so. I don't think she would leave WWE unless, like CM Punk, she is mentally done with wrestling. I don't see her doing that. I think that she retired because she didn't want to be involved in between WWE and CM Punk. But at the same time, I think that she wants to be able to support her husband and his journey in UFC, and she wants to be by his side. I would be very surprised if she ended up in TNA or any of those promotions for that matter. I mean, I suppose Lucha Underground would be a possibility, but I don't think she's going to do it. I think if she ever gets back into wrestling again, like CM Punk, it'll be with WWE. That's just my gut feeling. All right, that'll wrap it up for this edition of No DQ&A video. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for Extreme Rules coverage. Extreme Rules less than 2 weeks away now on the WWE Network for just $9.99 or free if you're sampling it for the first time. And you could see such great matches as Rusev versus John Cena in a Russian chain match. And you can also see Randy Orton attempt to not get disqualified in a cage match against Seth Rollins. You can see all this on the network, and NoDQ.com will have you covered with news, rumors, and of course, live results coverage. I'll be tweeting on twitter.com/NoDQ.com. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for all that, and I will see you guys next time for another edition of No DQ&A video. Thanks for watching.